so crazy? What? This group influenced the presidential election of 2024.
Yo, listen. Don't even say influence. We decided.
We were the turning point.
Just know. And we'll be left out of everything, and that's fine. We don't give a fuck about the credit. We know what we do.
I don't need this credit.
It's fine. We'll be left out of everything. It's totally fine. It doesn't matter. That is the nature of things that we started. Everybody else does it. But he was not up until this pod.
It's true.
After the pod, he surges, 3 or 4%?
Yeah, it was a wrap, dude. Mm-hmm.
Never went back down after that. Okay. Shout out my Samoans. Shout out my Maudis.
Was that a haka?
That was a haka.
That's fine.
I just did a haka. I learned that one. That
the straightest haka ever.
Yeah, it was a really good haka.
You ever seen a gay haka before?
I have. Come on, dude. Come on.
Is that disrespectful? I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're going to fuck you up and out.
It's our culture.
Yeah. And you go to Hawaii soon.
All right, listen. What a fucking election special. It is crazy that we had any influence at all.
Yeah, it's really nuts, dude. I texted you.
It's
That's the most insane
absurd.
shit ever. My wife looked at me at about 10 p.m. and she goes, "You did this." I said, "Hey, we asked her to come on. Brown bitch ain't want to come on."
Why didn't she? Why didn't she?
I don't know.
Is she going to be at the inauguration?
Does she have to?
As VP, she's got to be there, right?
I don't even think she's conceded yet. Dick.
Whoa. Whoa.
She's doing it 6 p.m. today. We're recording this Wednesday.
4 p.m. today.
They moved it up?
Yeah. Unless they move it back. But
She's probably going to show up at 6. Minority ass.
Okay, but in all seriousness, guys, let's have a real conversation.
Yeah.
Alex, what are you feeling? What's going on in your mind? How are you dealing with the information?
Nah, it's a great day. I woke up to racist text messages and DMs and stuff.
A lot of S's in that word for you, right?
Yeah, it was.
What'd they say? In text, who erases text messaging?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
bold.
just DMs, just DMs.
Yeah, come on. Text message is crazy.
With the victim ideology.
Right?
No, but my group chat of all black guys, they got to hit me with the racist shit.
So they happy, bro. They're happy.
Oh, they are.
Come on, bro.
My parent tobacco.
I shouldn't have gone to you first. I knew you were going to bring down the mood.
Okay. Mark, what's your mom
tell me
saying?
what the family celebration was like. What was the group chat doing?
Group chat's divided.
Why?
And some people are like, hell yeah, Trump's president, let's fucking go. The other half is like the corporations have taken over and Satan is now in charge. Because ultimately, all politicians serve Satan. Okay, so there's no political discourse.
Yo,
without
Mark's
Satan
mom
being
is
it.
the shit. We should have had her on today. That would have been the best.
Yeah,
and just watch her just laser beam Dove for 2 hours on a podcast, staring straight into his soul.
Yeah,
You guys knew who was going to win.
Dove would convert. Dove would absolutely convert.
Okay, what are you feeling, Akash?
Yo, I kind of smugly satisfied. Like, this is what y'all get. Y'all didn't want to come on flagrant. You know what they told us? It was too big of a risk. It was too big of a risk for Kamala to come on. Okay, you fucking loser. You know what I mean? Like, it's a kind of a risk in not doing any big podcasts.
Bro, you know what? We told a little Chinese man once. He was running for mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
We say, yo, if you wanna be mayor, you gotta come on flagrant. The only way that you could be mayor of New York City is if you come on flagrant.
Yep.
Said it was too big of a risk.
And now look at him. Where is he?
Selling
Anybody heard his
insurance.
name for 5 years?
Selling insurance in Wisconsin.
Nah, yeah, he has a nice podcast.
Does he?
That records at a WTF Media Studio.
Oh my
in
God!
Midtown
But with all due
Manhattan.
respect, he's great. He's absolutely amazing. Are you sure it's him? It is over in Canal Street, so I don't want you. I just want to make sure you're not being racist right now.
Podcast, I pay him rent. He delivers my sushi.
It is weird. It's weird that he collects rent from me at the end of the month. That is a peculiar arrangement. Now, yeah, just a wild time. It's just a wild time. Okay, let's get into it. A lot of different conversations.
Well, how are things in your household?
I didn't tell y'all, or maybe I did tell y'all. I tried to pull Larry David yesterday. Because me, the idea of like going to vote just seems like such an effort. Oh my God. Then my address was in a different place. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going all the way up to that polling thing. So my wife.
5 blocks away.
No, it was on 58th.
Oh, why?
Good.
Because business manager put the address, like a whole thing, whatever. Anyway, so I asked my wife, I'm like, yo, who you voting for? She goes, I'm voting for Kamala. Like we have a daughter and I'm worried about her reproductive rights.
Let's go.
And I was like, that's a good ass point.
Yes,
that is a good ass point. And then I also, hold on.
Women, smart women.
Hold on. I also calculated, I was like, Probably got another couple elections before the reproductive rights are going to kick in. I think we can fix that shit up. I think we got about 2 or 3 more before we're going to need one of them.
2 or 3. Come on.
Wait, right?
About 5 or 6, hopefully.
No, you're right. Why am I even saying
8 to 12 is crazy.
What you worried about, man?
It was wild.
Yeah, it was. 'Cause how many years did I think Trump was going to be there? Forever. You heard that, Shifty? MAGA.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's no more
Shifty?
elections.
MAGA.
Yeah, we never have to vote again. How convenient is
Yeah,
that?
That is
no
nice,
more
dude.
elections, bro.
Anyway,
That is nice.
So I asked my wife, I'm like, who you voting for? She goes, Kamala. And I'm like, all right, look, I want to do a Larry David with you. So I'm going to vote Trump. You're going to vote Kamala. If neither of us vote, then we did vote.
Yeah.
Right? Because they cancel each other out. This is a Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. She goes, all right, that kind of makes sense. Then hits me up midway through the day. I went and voted.
Yes.
I said, this motherfucker. I said, this motherfucker is trying to get one over on me. I rolled right to the closest precinct. I said, yo, can I vote here even though I'm not signed up? And they were like, yeah, this is America. You don't even need an ID. You don't even need to speak English. You could walk in here with a Venezuelan flag and a gun and you can vote. So I walked in there and they were like, you could sign an affidavit or some other bullshit. And I just voted.
Hell yeah.
Evened it out.
They take them shits, throw them right out.
They
try to do extra work.
They do. All right, so let's get into this discussion real quick. What do you think the real decision was that was made by the American public?
Economy.
You think it was in my estimation, this is what I think it was: a referendum on liberal politics and leftist politics. I don't think it was Trump populism. I think a lot of people are going, Trump is this amazing populist and he was just so engaging and everybody just fucking loved him. No, I actually think in the same way that people voted anti-Trump, let's say in 2020, I think people were voting anti-democratic leadership in 2024. And I think that's evident across the board. I mean, you saw your DA in California get knocked down. The Republicans flipped the Senate. The voter turnout is much higher. They win does he win every swing state?
Yeah, I don't know if she got a single one, dude.
So, to me, it's a rejection of the current state of liberal politics and the fact that those people felt concerns that were not met by Democrats on the campaign trail. They had no real answer for the border. They just gaslit people about the border. They had no real answer for the economy. They had no real answer for anything.
Nope.
So I think it was 1, a rejection of liberal politics, and then 2, just a truly once in a lifetime awful candidate. I don't think that you can. I don't think that you can
discredit or
not discredit, but discount. I don't think you can discount that.
Yeah.
You need to have a star.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? When I saw Obama on the campaign trail, I was like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking superstar. Yeah. And then you see her flopping around like a fish on a boat, and it's it was just brutal, So I think it was a rejection of leftist policies and leftist politics, along with just a truly horrible candidate.
The other part of the politics I think that people were fed up with was just the games Democrats play in the guise of democracy and we're the ones who care about the people. Nobody elected Kamala, just like nobody wanted Hillary in 2016. You're so eager to have a woman president or whatever it is, to whatever your reasoning is. This is the corporate person. Fuck actual democracy in action during the primaries. Let's put in the candidate we want. And then I think it's one of the worst campaigns. I think she could be a good candidate, but it was maybe the worst campaign I've ever seen in my life.
Is legacy media done?
Legacy media is done.
So I have theories on this. I think, because you got to look at it 2 ways. Is legacy media done, or was Kamala so bad that even with the influence of legacy media, they couldn't get it over the hump? For example, if Michelle was running or if Barack was running with legacy media in its current state, I think they might be able to still get it over it's a maybe.
Yeah.
But, so I don't think legacy media is completely done. But I do think that there is something very interesting that happened here. Legacy media still gets the eyeballs. It still gets the views. And it still has cultural influence. Up until election night, we all thought that it was a close race. Yeah. That's legacy media. That is constantly pushing narratives that not only is it close, she might be ahead. Iowa's going to her. Yeah. She's going to flip all the states. It's going to be an absolute mauling, right? That is legacy media pushing a narrative and people believing said narrative, right? So, if you look at all the pollsters, they had her winning day of.
Yeah.
Like outside of like Poly Market, which I don't even know if you can credit because it's just dudes gambling. It's like there's no actual women represented.
That's what I was
on
also
the
I was like,
thing.
women aren't gambling.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So I look at this. I look at a legacy media, and I'm like, okay. Now here's the difference, and I'm not just saying this because we're podcasters, but Trump went on podcasts, did these long interviews. Kamala did some podcasts too. But most of them were short, very contrived interviews. It was very controlled. It was things edited out. It was, it wasn't exactly the free form speech that we're kind of used to. Also specifically targeted to one demographic. Like you could tell in the last month that the campaign was like, we want black people to come out and vote. And we really aren't trying to reach out to anybody else.
Yeah.
Which is a huge, I think, problem for them because they just got lower all around turnout.
Yeah.
And maybe if they spoke to more people, then more people could have been inspired. But here's the thing that happens. One thing that podcasting has done that's been really effective is build community and connection, right? Like if you look at the biggest touring stand-up comedians in the world, right? They all have podcasts where they've built this amazing community and connection. And like we talk to people every single week. They know intimate details about our life. To me, what that's proven is that just because people are famous doesn't mean you go out.
Yeah.
Right? Connection is actually what makes people go out. There are comics on SNL that I don't know if they could sell out a weekend of shows at a comedy club. Mm-hmm. They're on the biggest comedy platform in the world. And then there are comics who have podcasts that can sell out arenas.
Yeah.
To me, the difference between new media and legacy media is connection.
Okay.
The purpose of this podcast is to get people to invest in our lives and then be along for that journey, be it we go do stand-up shows, we go do some sort of live tour, some live activation, just be part of our lives. The purpose of legacy media is to sell depression pills. That is the purpose of the show.
Yeah.
They're creating the show so that they can sell those depression pills.
Yeah.
That's not to say we don't have ads. Of course we have ads. We didn't originally. For months, a year when we started this. The purpose of this was to build a community and a connection. And I think that fatal flaw, her not going onto these podcasts, is that people weren't able to make that connection. And just as people come out to shows because they build that connection with us here, they came out to vote because he built that connection.
Yeah.
People leave the house. When they didn't have to leave the house to vote, they voted for Biden. They mailed it in. When they had to leave the house to go to a stand-up show or leave the house to vote, you better we talk about this all the time. It's an investment. Putting on fucking clothes, standing in line for a couple hours.
And we only mailed it in because we were locked inside for 6 months. We had nothing else to do.
For sure.
I'm not mailing in if I can go outside and do things.
Sure,
Because we could have mailed in this time, but we're not. I think when I say legacy media is done, I mean, they can still set a narrative. People still watch it. Their influence is, them being the most influential force in the world is done.
I don't know if, I wouldn't say done. I would just say that like, they don't have the connectivity.
Sure.
And the great disruption with new media is the connectivity.
Yeah.
And before, and the reason why I create the analogy with comics is like before there were comics that could sell out shows by being in a commercial. Mm-hmm. Like they were in a commercial for Pepsi and they could sell out a weekend of shows just because there were so few famous people.
Yeah.
Now everybody is gone viral.
Yeah.
What type of connection do you have with your audience?
I think legacy media just hits a different crop of voters. It's like with the advent of like TikTok is Facebook done? It's like, well, I think Facebook just kind of hits like a different group of people in a different age bracket, in a different geography. Mm-hmm. And I think legacy media effectively does the same thing. I think younger people are probably seeking connection more so. And that community, specifically digitally, is probably more valuable to younger people. Whereas like, I don't know, our parents are not listening to podcasts, but they'll probably tune in to CNN or Fox or whatever, and they'll watch that and then get their information based off that. Yeah. So I think mobilizing young people podcasts is the way to go.
Yeah.
And then as far as getting older people, I think you have to, now are in a position where it's not pick one or the other, but you have to play both.
Yeah. And she chose not to play one.
Unbelievable.
Well, she played it in a specific way that I think hurt her negatively.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like Call Her Daddy, I don't think you can discount. Breakfast Club, I don't think you can discount. But I think in order to get all of them, you need to do all of them.
Like they only did, outside of Call Her Daddy, it felt like they only did black podcasts. And to me, if I'm an American voter, I'm almost like insulted by it. I'm like, hey, we're here too. Like, I know we don't live in fucking Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, but we also care about what you're going to do for us. And if you're just talking about these things the month before the election, we might feel like you don't give a fuck about what's going on for us.
The way I'm wired, if I'm a black voter, I'm sorry to interrupt. If I'm a black voter, I start to feel a little insulted.
You feel pandered to?
Yeah, like what do you do? All you ever do is you're gonna go have a fucking town hall. You're gonna go do all the smoke, and those are great platforms, but like that's all you're gonna do is just sit here and talk to me. Like this is the liberal thing where it's like, yo, you're not equal.
Yeah,
you're a little less than us, so let's just pander to you like you're a fucking moron, and you'll buy into it because you're so fucking stupid and helpless as a minority.
Yeah,
fuck you, suck my dick. Talk to America, and I'll listen, and I'll choose who I want.
Right.
Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I think part of the reason Obama got elected was because he got a lot of the black people, the black vote out to actually vote. A large percentage of the black community do not go out and vote. So I think that was part of the strategy of targeting a particular group to try to get them as happy and energized to get out to actually vote like Obama did. I think using podcasts was a great strategy on both sides. This was the first election run that they ever did that. Yep. So it was like, it was hit or miss. Let's say Trump loses, people would have been like, he wasted all that time going on podcasts instead of just going out and doing just talking to the people. No. People could have said that. This was a gamble.
If Trump lost.
I'll get to that. We'll go.
And so it's like, Obama's amazing strategy was utilizing social media during his run. And that was never seen before. So I think it was just the fact that they tried new things and some worked, some didn't. And clearly Trump connected with people better than Kamala.
So if I can respond to that, sorry. I think if you watch sports, this is what always happens. If a team goes for it on fourth down and they make it, coach is a genius. If they don't, he's an idiot. It always, hindsight influences everything. I think even if Trump lost, personally, I would have been like, no, he lost because of January 6th. He lost because of XYZ, all these other things that happened outside of the podcast world. If you just look at raw numbers of Joe Rogan and say, 60 million views on YouTube alone for a guy who's still bigger on audio, just hitting that raw number of people, if you're like, no, you know what's going to win me the election? Let's go do a black podcast that gets 1/100th of that listen.
Charlamagne said to me, the number one podcast with black listenership and viewership in the world
is Joe Rogan.
So you chose not to go on the biggest podcast for black people in the world. Like that is a huge choice. Yeah. And while doing that, you could have also hit all these other people as well. To me, the strategy is they weren't ready for the pushback and they wanted to go on platforms that were going to be more comfortable, with their control and their hand. Light tour.